Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Hearthstone. So we need one more mage victory and then I'm gonna try to do 50 warrior class cards one way or the other. I'm not sure. It probably isn't worth it to try to do the warrior class cards in this gameplay style because uh, being limited to 10 cards like we are in this tavern brawl probably only speeds up the process. I've been noticing that we're getting a couple more games in here. Oh, that was easy. I guess I have nothing to say about that. Really, we're at 5,700 gold. We're working our way up to 10. So we need now warrior cards, right? Warrior class cards. So we come over here. We'll play casual. And, well, I guess we could just do it. And then we need to choose. Do we want enrage, taunt, or weapon? And I think I'll go with taunt. And I guess we can play ranked. If we get any ranked wins, that's fine. If we don't, that's fine too. And at the end of the day, unless I've made a mistake here, that's my Hearthstone deck tracker just shown me. I may have picked the wrong card. Yeah, I almost certainly did. I should have done enrage.
Watch your
like,
back.
well, these are all warrior cards. All right. Random taunt character in your hand. Let's see. We'll get rid of those two. I finished last recording talking about how this game from 2000 called Messiah came to Steam. I kind of wish I knew more about it, but I really don't have time to do anything because of just ineffectualness. I'm just ineffective in general. I've noticed that sometimes I get 3 hours of recording done. Now I'm staying up all throughout the middle of the night, but it's kind of working for me. It's not really working for societies per se, but it's staying up in the middle of the night is a great way to ignore everybody else in the world. And because I have a DVR, if there's the occasional thing on TV I want to watch, which TV has started, so I'm watching Timeless and Lucifer so far, and I'm watching The Librarians. But The Librarians is awful because they let different people write different episodes, so it's just a horribly inconsistent. The scenes seem to jump around and skip sections. It's just not good. I would much prefer that they just had made more librarian movies where they could have one person make a made-for-TV 2-hour movie in the style of Indiana Jones and just keep on going down that route. Because that's all it is, really. It's just Indiana Jones. Whenever you gain armor, get this minion +1/+1 attack. Have this minion deals damage, gain that much armor. There you go.
Strike.
Just, am I really watching anything else? Well, I did watch fast forward through Dragon Ball Z Kai to see if that was anything I could ever possibly watch out of nostalgia. It probably is the best way to kind of go back and watch it, but the animation is so bad. It's just like you're talking decades and decades ago of animation, hand-drawn animation at that. It just doesn't stand up to modern eyes and TVs. It looks really, really bad. and then I look over to my left and see my collection of other anime and think to myself, oh, I wonder how many of those DVDs and the occasional Blu-rays I have of those would stand up to another viewing. I guess that's a problem for a day that probably won't even come.
A glorious invention.
But whatever. Let's see. I was also watching the Dragon Ball, whatever the new one is, and seeing if that could do anything. But in all honesty, I wouldn't waste my time watching either one. I think Bleach probably was my last go as far as watching a show that's designed to go on forever, and I suffered through that enough to get barely a smidgen of story. But I'm here talking about video games, or at least trying to, so like, yeah, and plus I don't know if there really is anything else on TV I'm super absorbed with. I did come to the realization, I don't know if I talked about this, it's probably been 3 years since I've watched anything on sci-fi. And the BBC Sherlock thing, nobody seemed to like that, and I cut off BBC America, so I didn't see the Doctor Who Christmas special, so it's been over a year now since I've seen a Doctor Who. I haven't seen a Sherlock episode since probably the very first season. I may have watched those on Netflix. So very little as far as BBC I want to watch, as far as a niche channel. Sci-fi burned me over and over again, and burns everyone over and over again with canceling shows, and it seems like they have nothing now. A lot certainly has changed as far as the local channels too. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah, I was watching that, and Once Upon a Time. A lot of things that at one point you would have only seen on the niche channels are now completely just on the normal channels. Let's see. Add a random class card to your hand. Combo. I think I'm fine to just do this. Job's done. But in general, I'm trying to get away from TV completely. That is definitely part of the reason why I'm ineffective. Is I keep literally telling myself, like, you've got to keep your butt in the chair. The chair in front of my TV. You can't get up. You can't walk away. You can't get a glass of water. You need to get all that prepared, and then not find any reason subconsciously or consciously to leave. And see, that doesn't really work, because also my chair is incredibly uncomfortable after several hours, and so I'm actually in physical pain right now sitting. But I gotta do that. I gotta sit here for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, at least get a good 2.5 hours of recording before I get up and leave, because if I get up and leave and do anything, there's less chance that I will even get back to recording that day.
Take this.
And so, but even in my attempts to motivate myself, it's not going great. 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. After going through a thing of playing Skyrim, I think to myself, man, I'd like to do another hour, but I need to go to sleep. I'm tired. I won't do a good video. I wanted to do another hour of gameplay yesterday on Skyrim, and I was just like, well, I'll fall asleep in the middle of that. The longer duration recordings in particular are are part of the problem, but that won't be an issue as soon as I finish Skyrim, because Skyrim almost certainly is Skyrim is almost certainly the last game I'll play that's an hour plus in per episode, at least for a long time. Probably just for a long time. Let's see, how many cards did we play? Not enough warrior cards, so let's try the enraged deck now. But everything else, I'm starting to go for 25 minutes, not even a full 30 minutes. I'll start wrapping up at 25 minutes, and now that I don't even have the opportunity to beg for money donations, which kind of sucks. There is definitely an argument about the fact that I have all my chickens and all my eggs in one basket. My entire revenue source is surrounded around YouTube, and if it was actually giving me money that I actually needed to live off of, it would be hugely dangerous. As dangerous as a person only getting one paycheck from one boss. But the problem with YouTube is you probably don't work for somebody that where somebody across the world could do a false DMCA attack and just shut down my entire channel. And that's definitely a consideration. Really, are a lot of these enraged things not the enraged characters are not unique to Hunter either. Interesting. Alright.
Back to work.
Alright.
Who you want me killed?
Cat. There in the turn. So yeah, I should, once I have more subscribers, once I have more everything, I should definitely get a Patreon and
no problem.
do those things, have some improvements to have different revenues. Although if somebody's specifically targeting me, which I don't know, I'd have to get so big that I'd probably have extra protections at that point for somebody to specifically be able to shut down a Patreon and a YouTube channel. It's frankly rather shockingly easy to shut down a YouTube channel, but I imagine Patreon would be more willing to not do that. Plus, if you're asking for donations on Patreon, they can't really claim DMCA things on that. Anyways, I keep looking at my list of things to talk about, and it's not going down at all.
No look, say you.
But, as far as my channel, I'm getting some shocking extra views on the what is it? It's the Batman videos, because the Batman movie is out right now, or coming out pretty soon.
Strike.
Let's see. So the Lego Batman series I covered is getting some pickups on views, and that's nice, and it actually got me a lot of watch time. So somebody who I assume actually wanted to, or several people who actually wanted to see Lego Batman the movie, got interested enough to stay on my channel, or maybe they weren't interested in the movie at all, and this is actually just they were trying to play the game. Regardless of how it happened, it was for the past 7 days a bigger video than my How to Stop Hearthstone deck tracker, which is a lovely turn of events because I really don't want the one video that doesn't have to do with reviewing a video game to be my biggest video, and that's just silly. But sadly, that is exactly what the case has been. But I looked at the traffic sources and tried to do it. Usually I don't pay any attention, so it's very possible that there have been other rolling 7-day periods where other videos have gotten lots of views, and certainly when there's a Hearthstone expansion, that's almost definitely the case. But yeah, interesting. We're getting about 60 to $1 every week, so 60 cents to $1. It's not great. I'm over 100 subscribers. It's better than nothing. Somebody on the video game Facebook group that I joined on my personal Facebook account and look at on rare occasions. It really is a garbage group, though, because you just, like, you run into this issue of garbage posting left and right. Just tons of garbage posting. And even a few posts I've noticed here where they'll put like a DeviantArt sexy anime character there, and then the question and the thing that they're talking about has nothing to do with it, and they're just like, well, I put this picture here so you'll read it, and I'm like, well, that's false advertising. We don't need that in my life. Just clickbaiting, basically. On a rare occasion, I do see something interesting there, but very rarely. Most of the time, it's just the same garbage post over and over again. And I'll probably stop following it after a while. I guess I could have killed this guy. Well, we're approaching here. Let's just finish the thing. But what I was saying there, somebody post a link to your YouTube channel to get 100 subs or something like that. I couldn't even really understand what they were saying. But
Well played.
But I thought about putting a link to my channel there, but I really couldn't care. I'm already over 100, and I frankly don't think getting those specific people would actually help anymore. Let's try weapon here. So Brexit has been blamed for the UK App Store prices being raised. Things in the UK App Store for iOS are more expensive, however you would say that. The same is true for the price of the Switch and a lot of other things too. So the pound is losing its trading value, which honestly doesn't really bother me too much. Because for all of my life, the pound has been about 1.5 times or more the US dollar. If it starts to, if that starts to change and you instead, it's down to $1. The economy in UK, in London, UK will suffer, but I come from this mentality that I feel like there's a heavy overinflation that happens in the US market, and I would suspect it's the same in the UK market, where everything is the NASDAQ Dow, everything I think is way too much value in them, and when the next recession comes, we're going to see those things crash again and again, and I would prefer to see some stability. This is definitely armchair, just armchair economics thought, but that's kind of where I feel like it is, and you'll just have more stability in the thing. Much like in the South Korean issue of Samsung being this company that has some bribery accusations against it, and also they run a significant portion of all the jobs and economies in South Korea. This is not good at all. This, if it turns out Samsung was just lying about profits and it's just a pyramid scam, that's no way for the world to find out. And that was the whole thing about Bernie Madoff, is that his scam went on for years and years and years, if not decades, because in good times nobody questioned it. It wasn't until bad times that it all fell apart.
Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty.
I kind of had a bigger conversation set up, but I'll just kind of skip over it. There's a lot of trailers and announcements with the Switch and other things. A lot of things definitely getting announced, but I don't know if I really care or want to talk about them personally, but then I usually don't have enough time. So if I'm talking about a trailer in the future, it's probably just because I'm wasting time. Like, unless it's a remake of an old game, we as a general people have no idea if the game is going to be good. Recore looked awesome, Recore was garbage. No Man's Sky looked awesome, No Man's Sky was garbage. It's just the same thing over and over again with trailers. You don't know until the game's actually out there. And then they just seem to love to there you go, victory, to just trickle out information to keep things in the mindset of the characters. Let's just stick with the weapons and see if that works again. But these announcements are usually pretty useless. And what's the point of even knowing the name of a game until it's finished? It may just get canceled. Look at Scalebound. People were hyped for Scalebound. They had no reason to be hyped for Scalebound at all, except for maybe the creator of the game. But until that game is done, until that game is out, there's no reason to have known anything about it. It would have been a much better experience for anybody who was hyped for Scalebound if Scalebound had never been announced until it was done. Or at least guaranteed that it was going to be finished. And that didn't happen. Let's see, we'll take this one and trade these. So, yeah, my internal logic tells me to stop covering things. I'll look at them, certainly. I may, if they're on coming soon on Steam, I'll put them on my follow list.
Someone injured?
But anything beyond that, it's kind of pointless. I think I want to do this here and then here, but I don't know. I'll I'll do this
Consider.
instead. This guy, this one, and the coin will be needed.
Quickly.
Speaking of trailers, the Friday the 13th trailer made one to show the morphing ability of who is he? Jason Voorhees? Isn't that the Friday the 13th character? And it looked pretty awful. Now I'm wondering if maybe they put out this trailer because recently it was Friday the 13th, but whatever they did, it looked pretty bad. It makes not the most amount of logical sense as far as my understanding of the Friday the 13th series, because he's just kind of magically teleporting from one place to the other, and his feet clearly show that they're just they're floating in the air, and it looks very awkward. It looks like he's getting lifted up by magical invisible thread, like you might do in a stage play, then very fast warping him to a place, and then he's coming to a stop and trying to get his footing set again. It looks bad. It makes no sense. It's a trailer that clearly should have not been made. Or shown. Maybe you make it, but don't show it. That might be a good idea too. The Russian publisher, a Russian publishing giant, has bought Crytek's first-person shooter Warface. The name of the publishing giant is My.com, which is owned by Mail.ru. I kind of wonder if in Russia everybody is required to do all their mailing in email through all their email through Mail.ru. I wouldn't be surprised. You can see My.com. That is a really low domain as far as a domain, just 2 letters than the .com, and Mail.ru is clearly a very low domain for Russia with 4 letters and a very desirable one on top of that. So
Wow.
even though I have never had any business with any of these companies, they just by what I'm seeing. Let's see. I can pretty much guesstimate that. There we go. 15 damage in 3 turns. Those are big companies. Nintendo of America's Reggie Fils-Aimé, the president, although he's kind of the president of Nintendo of America, which is just a completely under control subsidiary of Nintendo of Japan, so really they don't decide to make any games or do anything. Like, yeah, honestly, I'm not sure if Nintendo of America has ever been allowed to do much more than just localize video games. Come to think of it, like all those Mario games, all that stuff is Nintendo of Japan. It clearly is. So, yeah, I don't know if they do much of anything other than just localize things and give the English version of the Japanese press reviews. But anyways, he said the Switch launch is not the be-all, end-all, which is to say people were disappointed with the small amount of games on the Switch launch, and more's to come. They put out a graphic that showed all the games that are coming out, and then oddly, like the next day, they announced a Fire Emblem thing for Switch and 3DS, which they had already talked about Fire Emblem, so I don't know if Fire Emblem is just like double, triple dipping and having a bunch of them. Give a random weapon in your hand +1.
Blow something up.
3.
Walk the plank.
Job done.
I don't have a lot of hope for Switch in the time since it's been announced in a week, maybe 2. Most people are just expressing major disappointment with it and don't have a lot of hope. Very possibly it might be the end of Nintendo, but kinda not likely. We need to kind of hurry here though. We've been going 30 minutes and I'm about to lose, so let's go through. There are mods for Ark Survival Evolved that have the characters from Monster Hunter and Pokemon. The Pokemon one got DMCA'd by who I can guess is only the wrong company because it wasn't the right name and the DMCA got removed. But once the actual owners of Pokemon and Monster Hunter see that that's happening, I imagine that will get DMCA'd. And again, Ark Survival Evolved, I believe, is one of those iffy games that's never going to be finished, and I have no recommendation whatsoever for anybody to play it right now. We already talked about Fallout 4 mods. Here's an interesting story, and I really don't have time for it. Interesting. Let's just go through it quickly. Obviously, I'll need to play 20 more warrior cards, but I'll do that off screen because I can't imagine going a 4th recording because halfway through it I would get really quiet. The ex-Techland COO, who I believe was kicked out or fired or asked to leave under dispute or something, because I remember this story and I kind of recall during this time saying he's going to come back and start a new studio and do that. And that's exactly what he's done. He's started a new studio, and in the announcement of the new studio it says that there are people that have worked on some major games, some games like Dead Island, which Techland made Dead Island, so that makes sense, and The Witcher 3, which we heard somebody quit from The Witcher 3, so we kind of almost know who that person is, don't we? And Doom, I believe, was another one, but I may be wrong. In the end, there was 20 major games that they said people had worked on are now on in this company with 144 years of experience. Now, the interesting thing here is I'd like to get a hard number on the number of employees that they have as far as just programmers. And the best indicator I could do is to assume nobody has done more than 20 years on average in video game. That would be a very seasoned video game programmer at 20 years. And then divide the 144 years that they're talking about by 20, that gives you 8 people, maybe, if each one of them has done less than 20 years. If on average people have only done 10 years of programming in their life, which might be even more realistic, then you're talking 16 people or 14, 15 people in the company. That might be more realistic as far as the programmers. So definitely a small office. They're not starting with 100 employees. I don't know how many video game companies really do that, though, as far as actual programming. And there is some pedicure there, but it is also possible that this 15 to 7 people, I mean, if it could be even less, if all of these are bad attitude or bad programmers, or they were working on the project but they were just an intern and they really didn't contribute anything to it, I mean, you could certainly make a dream team of the best programmers and have 8 people and have a great company, or you could have the worst people. So we'll have to see who actually is in working for this company. And it's a little weird the way it started and everything, but I guess we can wait and see. We're not assuming there's going to be a huge success or a huge failure. The new companies start all the time, and this may be just another way of stopping the video game industry of being full of Ubisofts and Capcoms and Electric Arts and giant games like that. Giant game companies with multiple offices. But then again, we may very quickly find out that this office gets absorbed into some giant video game industry. Things like Ubisoft or EA. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But it's an interesting continuation to what will be an interesting story when it all comes out. That's going to be it for this recording. Once I get done with the 60 gold, we'll be at 5,770, which isn't too bad. No new announcements so far as any new Hearthstone cards. Maybe they'll finally relax a little bit and not announce anything until I can actually get up to 10,000. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, click that bell to get notifications next to the subscribe button, and watch every second of my videos because of all that helps me with YouTube. Also, please friend and follow me on all the social media links down below in the description. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.